Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Dina Hidayatussyarifah, and then in this video, I'm going to share some useful tips and tricks that can help you understand the TOEFL listening section better, especially when the conversation part between students and also professor. Listening can be really tricky sometimes, right? The audio plays once and then the speaker talks and sometimes the vocabulary feels too academic. But don't worry guys, because today I will help you feel more confident and also prepared. So let's start from the first one is predict the topic from the first sentence. When the conversation starts, always focus on the first few lines. Usually, the student will explain why they come to meet to the professor, and then that gives you a big clue about the topic. For example, in one to full conversation, student comes to the professor's office and say that they are having trouble with their research paper. Then the professor listens and help them narrow the topic. So from the short beginning, you can already guess that the main idea will be about academic writing or research difficulties. So the first tip is listen carefully at the beginning and try to predict the topic. So it helps your brain focus on what kind of information to expect next. And the second one is pay attention to the speaker's attitude and tone. In TOEFL listening, how sometimes is said is just as important as what is said. Sometimes the question will ask, what is the professor attitude toward the students, or how does the student feel about the problem? Let me give you a short example. In a conversations, the student sounds worried because they missed a deadline, but the professor replies in a calm and kind tone, saying, "Don't worry, you can still submit it tomorrow morning." So from that thought, you can tell that the professor is understanding and helpful. So always pay attention to the emotion and attitude in the speaker's voice. That's the key to answering attitude question correctly. And then the third one is focus on the solutions and suggestion. Most of our conversation follow a pattern. There is a problem and then a solution. Once you recognize the problem, listen carefully for what the professor suggests next, because that's usually the correct answer in the questions. For example, in one conversation, a student said that they can't find enough sources for their essay. The professor then suggests, why don't you check the Deadline Library database? You might find more journal articles there. So the solution here is using the online library database. When you hear phrase like I recommend that you or you should try, or the best thing to do is, that's your signal. I mean, it's the professor's suggestion, and it's often what the question is about. So even though TOEFL audio only plays once, so you can still jot down quick notes, and you don't need to write full sentences, just keywords like the problem, the solutions. So the short notes help you remember important points when answering the questions. So let's review what we have learned today. The first one, predict the topic from the first line. The second one is pay attention to the tone and also the speaker's attitude. And then the third one is focus on the solutions and suggestions given by the professor, as I have explained just now. And then the fourth, if you can, take a short notes to keep track of main ideas. So if you practice these tips regularly, your TOEFL listening score will be finally improved. Remember that listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding meaning, feeling, and purpose. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these tips help you feel more confident in your TOEFL listening test. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye and see you in the next video.